Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to unlocking endless opportunities for professional growth and success. GSDC is an independent, vendor-neutral, international credentialing and certification organization for professionals. For over 5 years, we have certified the skills of over 100,000 professionals across EMEA, LATAM, APAC, and North America regions. We offer certification in learning and development, human resources, quality assurance, ISO and Six Sigma, emerging technologies, DevOps, SRE, Agile and Scrum, project management. GSDC is proudly accredited with ANSI and ABICB. We have global presence with offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore, and a strong network of over 50 global accredited training organizations.
But how do these certifications contribute to your career growth? GSDC certifications are globally recognized and trusted by many multinational organizations. Our certifications validate your skills and demonstrate your commitment to professional development. GSDC is collaborating with 500+ SMEs, advisors, and global experts to curate and share best practices with individuals. We validate those skills via experts-curated certification exams. Additionally to that, we also regularly conduct webinars, knowledge-sharing sessions, and various complementary learning initiatives to keep learners updated on the best practices and fortify their knowledge. By validating skills, GSDC is addressing the challenges faced by professionals in today's competitive landscape. We bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical expertise, ensuring that individuals are equipped to succeed in their chosen fields. Visit our website to know more about GSDC.
Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to unlocking endless opportunities for professional growth and success. GSDC is an independent, vendor-neutral, international credentialing and certification organization for professionals. For over 5 years, we have certified the skills of over 100,000 professionals across EMEA, LATAM, APAC, and North America regions. We offer certification in learning and development, human resources, quality assurance, ISO and Six Sigma, emerging technologies, DevOps, SRE, Agile and Scrum, project management. GSDC is proudly accredited with ANSI and ABICB. We have global presence with offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore, and a strong network of over 50 global accredited training organizations.
But how do these certifications contribute to your career growth? GSDC certifications are globally recognized and trusted by many multinational organizations. Our certifications validate your skills and demonstrate your commitment to professional development. GSDC is collaborating with 500+ SMEs, advisors, and global experts to curate and share best practices with individuals. We validate those skills via experts-curated certification exams. Additionally to that, we also regularly conduct webinars, knowledge-sharing sessions, and various complementary learning initiatives to keep learners updated on the best practices and fortify their knowledge. By validating skills, GSDC is addressing the challenges faced by professionals in today's competitive landscape. We bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical expertise, ensuring that individuals are equipped to succeed in their chosen fields. Visit our website to know more about GSDC.
Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to unlocking endless opportunities for professional growth and success. GSDC is an independent, vendor-neutral, international credentialing and certification organization for professionals. For over 5 years, we have certified the skills of over 100,000 professionals across EMEA, LATAM, APAC, and North America regions. We offer certification in learning and development, human resources, quality assurance, ISO and Six Sigma, emerging technologies, DevOps, SRE, Agile and Scrum, project management. GSDC is proudly accredited with ANSI and ABICB. We have global presence with offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore, and a strong network of over 50 global accredited training organizations.
But how do these certifications contribute to your career growth? GSDC certifications are globally recognized and trusted by many multinational organizations. Our certifications validate your skills and demonstrate your commitment to professional development. GSDC is collaborating with 500 plus SMEs, advisors, and global experts to curate and share best practices with individuals. We validate those skills via experts' curated certification exams. Additionally to that, we also regularly conduct webinars, knowledge sharing sessions, and various complementary learning initiatives to keep learners updated on the best practices and fortify their knowledge. By validating skills, GSDC is addressing the challenges faced by professionals in today's competitive landscape. We bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical expertise, ensuring that individuals are equipped to succeed in their chosen fields. Visit our website to know more about GSDC.
Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to unlocking endless opportunities for professional growth and success. GSDC is an independent, vendor-neutral, international credentialing and certification organization for professionals. For over 5 years, we have certified the skills of over 100,000 professionals across EMEA, LATAM, APAC, and North America regions. We offer certification in learning and development, human resources, quality assurance, ISO and Six Sigma, emerging technologies, DevOps, SRE, Agile and Scrum, project management. GSDC is proudly accredited.
Welcome everyone. We'll start the session in next 2 minutes.
With ANSI and ABICB. We have global presence with offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore, and a strong network of over 50 global accredited training organizations.
But how do these certifications contribute to your career growth? GSDC certifications are globally recognized and trusted by many multinational organizations. Our certifications validate your skills and demonstrate your commitment to professional development. GSDC is collaborating with 500 plus SMEs, advisors, and global experts to curate and share best practices with individuals. We validate those skills via experts' curated certification exams. Additionally to that, we also regularly conduct webinars, knowledge sharing sessions, and various complementary learning initiatives to keep learners updated on the best practices and fortify their knowledge. By validating skills, GSDC is addressing the challenges faced by professionals in today's competitive landscape. We bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical expertise, ensuring that individuals are equipped to succeed in their chosen fields. Visit our website to know more about GSDC.
Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to unlocking endless opportunities for professional growth and success. GSDC is an independent, vendor-neutral, international credentialing and certification organization for professionals. For over 5 years, we have certified the skills of over 100,000 professionals across EMEA, LATAM, APAC, and North America regions. We offer certification in learning and development, human resources, quality assurance, ISO and Six Sigma, emerging technologies, DevOps, SRE, Agile and Scrum, project management.
Yes, we are waiting for some more participants. So we'll start the session in few minutes.
GSDC is proudly accredited with ANSI and ABICB. We have global presence with offices in Switzerland, the United States, and Singapore, and a strong network of over 50 global accredited training organizations.
But how do these certifications contribute to your career growth? GSDC certifications are globally recognized and trusted by many multinational organizations. Our certifications validate your skills and demonstrate your commitment to professional development. GSDC is collaborating with 500 plus SMEs, advisors, and global experts to curate and share best practices with individuals. We validate those skills via experts' curated certification exams. Additionally to that, we also regularly conduct webinars, knowledge sharing sessions, and various complementary learning initiatives to keep learners updated on the best practices and fortify their knowledge. By validating skills, GSDC is addressing the challenges faced by professionals in today's competitive landscape. We bridge the gap between theoretical knowledge and practical expertise, ensuring that individuals are equipped to succeed in their chosen fields. Visit our website to know more about GSDC.
Welcome to the Global Skill Development Council, your gateway to unlocking endless opportunities for professional growth and success. GSDC is an independent, vendor-neutral, international credentialing and certification organization for professionals. For over 5 years, we have certified the skills of over 100,000 professionals across EMEA, LATAM, APAC, and North America regions. We offer certification in learning and development, human resources, quality assurance,
Yes. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the GSDC Global Agile ITSM Webinar 2024. My name is Anjali, and I'm your host for today. Joining me is my colleague, Ms. Setalu, as a co-host. If you need any assistance during this session, so please do reach out to her. Yes, we will be having our Agile ITSM webinar sessions with these two amazing speakers. So for today's session, we have Mr. Joshua Kerviski, Industrial Logic founder CEO. He will be speaking on the topic Joy of Agility, how to solve problems and succeed sooner. For tomorrow's session, we have Mr. Michael Sahuta, Involved 2B, Leadership Trainer, Organizational Evolution Consultant. He will be speaking on the topic of leading beyond change, from servant leadership to evolutionary leadership. So stay connected with us, everyone. Let me introduce you our hosting organization, that is GSDC. We are a vendor-neutral, vendor-agnostic, globally recognized certification body. We are proud to say that we are accredited by NC and ABICB, globally renowned bodies. GSDC is being recognized in Forbes Tech Target as one of the top IT certifications. We have 100 plus certification portfolio. We have successfully certified 90,000 plus professionals worldwide. GSDC has 500 plus subject matter experts, those who are advisory board of members. They work closely with our team to help to design our deliverables. We are associated with 30 plus universities worldwide. So if you want to learn more about our council, so the link is shared in the chat box. We have over 100 plus authorized training partners associated with us worldwide. And we have these partners in Asia, Africa, Europe, Canada, and many more. Thank you everyone to those who are joining this session through our partner channel. So if you want to connect with our partners, the link is shared in the chat box. A big shout out to our proud patrons for sharing these knowledgeable events with their networks. Thank you always for your support. Thank you very much, WordPress Hub, our official media partner, for covering our social media events. As I mentioned before, we have 100 plus certification portfolios such as generative AI, blockchain, ISO, like Agile. So for this event, we are specifically focusing on GSDC's Agile ITSM Manager Certificate. So this certificate is lifetime validated certification, which comes with learning resources, which is a lifelong learning, and they all are self-paced mode. If you require this training of the certificates, so you can reach out to our training partners. So we have 100 plus training partner channel network. So please let us know. The link is shared in the chat box. Any candidate, those who are certified with GSDC, will get a lifelong membership, complimentary upgrade to all the certifications, also a free access to the global events and all the webinars. So here's a quick announcement. Before we end this session, we have a 15 minutes of gamification session. So it will be held post the Q&A. So please stay connected with us. The top winner will win GSDC exam voucher worth $400, and the top 3 winners will be posted on the GSDC Wall of Fame. Yes, so let me introduce you to our keynote speaker, Mr. Joshua Kervisky, founder, CEO, Industrial Logic. A big welcome, Joshua, from GSDC side. Joshua is a founder and CEO, Industrial Logic, and one of the oldest and most well-respected agile consultancies in the world. Since 1996, Joshua and his global team of experts have helped people across many industries to leverage the wisdom and power of modern management and development methods. Joshua is an international speaker and an author of best-selling and award-winning book that is Refactoring to Patterns, as well as his newest book of Joy of Agility. So if you want to learn more about our speaker, the LinkedIn profile is shared in the chat box. So before we go further, post this session, we'll be having a quick 15 minutes of Q&A session. So meanwhile, during this session, you can feel free to put your questions in the chat box and we'll take all your questions after the speaker session. Yes, Joshua, you can take over the virtual mic.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate everyone who took some time today to attend. We got a pretty full-packed schedule here in terms of what I would like to talk about today. And so I'll just share my screen and we can get started. Okay, so everything good? You can see this okay?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, great. We're going to dive into this book I wrote, and I've been involved in agility and agile since before we started calling it that in the software industry. Back in the 1990s, we called it lightweight software methods, and it eventually got to be known as agile. And you may think of different concepts when I say the word agile. It might, mean to you that I'm talking about Scrum or I'm talking about Kanban or I'm going to basically get into that topic because it's not Scrum and it's not Kanban. It's a very important word, agile. So we're going to dive into that and hopefully expose you to what I would call the joy of being agile, the joy of agility. So first, let's talk about some misconceptions, right? Misunderstandings about what agile is. Agile is not a noun. It's not a thing, okay? Young people often think agile is for old people. Old people say we were doing this long before you called it agile. Entrepreneurs say we prefer lean startup. Product people, agile, yuck. We're product driven. Programmers, could you please just let us code? More designers, well, we don't do agile, we do design thinking. Executives, we're playing it safe. That's a play on the word safe, the scaled agile framework. Managers, yes, we're agile, we sprint, and we have product managers that are now called product owners. Okay. Certifiers, be agile, get certified. By the way, I'm uncertified, so I have no agile certifications whatsoever. I do have a driver's license, and I was given that because I passed the test to prove I could drive safely. Tool vendors, be agile, buy our tool, right? Somehow you're going to be agile just by using the tool. I don't think so. These are misconceptions. Agile is not a set of roles and rituals to follow. That's not what Agile is, okay? It is not a set of roles and rituals. It is not Scrum. A lot of people say Agile Scrum. Now we have an Agile Scrum certification. Agile Scrum, that's what Agile is. Nope, Agile is not Scrum. It is not the certified ability to sprint, estimate with story points, and attend stand-up meetings. I call it mixed scrums, the Agile Happy Meal. That is also not what Agile is. Now, a lot of people experience Agile via sprints, right? They think that Agile is about sprints. And a lot of times at the beginning of a sprint, you make an estimate for how much work you can get done. You feel pretty good about it at the beginning, right? You can get that work done in the duration of the sprint. Let's say it's 2 weeks or maybe a week. But as the sprint goes on, you're not so sure you can get everything done. There's a lot of unexpected work entering into your day. And the longer you get into the sprint, the bigger the surprises are until you're really feeling beaten up and surprised and not doing too well. So that by the end of the sprint, you'll do whatever it takes to just get the work that you promised to get done actually done, doing whatever horrible things you have to do to show that you finished it, even if the quality is bad. And a lot of times, if you continue on this kind of a sprint journey, well, the results are not so great. Unfortunately, I see too many would-be agilists suffering from this kind of a curve here where they're trying to cram way too much into a sprint and not producing the greatest results. And if that happens, and it continues to happen, a lot of times you start to see the quality problem continue. Agile wasn't born in 2001 when the Manifesto for Agile Software Development was written. A lot of people believe that was the birth of Agile, right? A bunch of guys going to a ski resort in Utah and signing the Manifesto for the Agile Software Development. Nope. Sorry, that's not when Agile was born. In fact, if you go back even to 1992, you will find something called the Agility Forum. The Agility Forum was created in the United States. It was led by a bunch of very intelligent people, including Lee Iacocca, who was a big heavyweight executive in the automotive industry. And back then, Japanese companies were really dominating the car industry, the automobile industry, which had been dominated by American companies. So the 1980s really woke up America and said, wow, we got to get more competitive. We have to be more agile. And so back then, in the early 1990s, this Agility Forum was created. Fall of 1992 was the very first volume of this newsletter. And this American Manufacturing Enterprise Forum was created as a unique organization to focus on speeding and enhancing the transition of US-based industry to agile competition. They said, we got to get more competitive. We got to get more agile. So if you think that agile means Scrum or that agile is only about software development, you're missing a big part of the picture, okay? This book here, Agile Competitors and Virtual Organizations, this came out in 1994, and it has a foreword by Lee Iacocca, and the three authors of it were heavily involved in the Agility Forum. It took about 3 years to write, so they started writing this in the very, very early 1990s, about 10 years before the Manifesto for Agile Software Development was produced. In fact, a guy named Miguel Beadle, a friend of mine, he was reading this book prior to going to Utah and participating in the manifesto signing. So he was very interested in this book about Agile, which had nothing to do with software. It was about Agile in enterprise, Agile in manufacturing, and so on. So Agile isn't a framework. A lot of people think it's a framework. Scrum is called a framework. It isn't some kind of model like this, right? I made this up. It's a kind of a joke, but the Enterprise Agile Framework, no, it is not that either. It's also not this kind of craziness. This is a little bit of a play on SAFe. It's called SAME, and it's all these crazy dependencies between teams. My friend Carl Scotland refers to this as the scaled agile model, SAME. And Agile is also not this as well. This is not what Agile is. So We're almost there. We're almost going to get to what Agile is, I promise. Because by now you're probably wondering, what the heck is he talking about? I created something back in 2016 called Modern Agile. I don't know if any of you ever heard of it, but there's a website for it called modernagile.org. And I basically said, Agile's getting too complicated. Let's boil it down to 4 simple principles. And these were those 4 principles. Okay. Make people awesome. That means, who's your customer? How are you going to give them a service or a product that when they use it, they're awesome? That's the first principle. The second principle is make safety a prerequisite. Make sure that whatever they're using, it's safe. Their data is safe, their bodies are safe, whatever they're doing, they're not going to get harmed. Make safety a prerequisite. It also involves psychological safety in the team. So a lot of interesting stuff around safety and high performance are in that principle. Then there's experiment and learn rapidly, which I think is self-explanatory, right? You want to learn and experiment very, very quickly so you can iterate and hopefully produce the right thing. And then deliver value continuously. This too is not Agile. This is a model. This is 4 principles that I found to be useful in building software products, but also building any products. It's useful, but it's not what Agile means. What does it mean? What does this thing Agile actually mean? Well, many years ago, I was asked to give a keynote, and I somehow decided to call the keynote Amplify Your Agility. At the time, there was a conference that was popular called Amplify Your Effectiveness. Very interesting and an excellent conference. And I was so involved in Agile that I decided to call my keynote Amplify Your Agility. And this was the very first time that I started to use a definition of the word Agile that I hadn't used before. And that definition is in the book, Joy of Agility. And I'm going to first, before I get to the definition, I'm going to tell you a little story. I have a lot of stories in my book. Joy of Agility is really a collection of my favorite stories because I like to teach by telling stories. So we're going to go to Norway, and we're going to talk about the Norwegian train system. Okay. So let me explain what happened here. This was a fairly long time ago, before the web was being used widely. The web was starting to be used around the world, and lots of people were moving their systems to be web-based, but the Norway train system was not using the web yet. Instead, they had machines, that they created themselves, and there was software running on those machines to sell train tickets. And if they ever wanted to make an update to that system, they had to go to every single machine at every single location and upgrade the machines to have the new software, right? The old days. You couldn't just deploy a change to the web and then it was instantly available. That wasn't possible. And these machines, they were in train stations, they were in convenience stores, they were all over the country, right? That's how people would buy their train tickets. So at some point, they realized they really need to evolve this entire system to move to the web. Okay, and I learned this story by a friend of mine named Thorbjørn Seberg. Okay, it's one of the many stories in the book. So you have all these places that need to get upgraded, right? And what a couple of really brilliant people decided was they said, you know what? Instead of upgrading the entire system, why don't we just start with a single location, a single convenience store where people buy tickets, and let's put a new solution in place, which would allow them to buy a ticket from the local station to the next major city. And that's it. That's the only thing it would do. Literally, you're talking about one computer sitting in a convenience store with a single button that you press. And if you press it, you're purchasing a ticket to the next major city. That's all it does. It's the only thing it does. And it's only in one convenience store. And that's what they did. They built a system to do that. It didn't take them very long because it wasn't very complicated. One ticket, that's all you could buy. It wasn't even round trip. All you could do is buy the one nonstop trip to the city. That's it. They didn't support any other features. So when I say 1 plus none equals done, I say there was one store, one web browser, one button, one-way ticket, one destination. Couldn't specify your destination. There was only one. It was hard-coded. 0 weekly passes, 0 monthly passes, 0 refunds. This was bare bones. And they put it in the convenience store and then they watched. And people used it. People bought tickets this way. And it was encouraging. They fixed a minor bug with the payment gateway, and it just worked. So we refer to this as evolutionary design, okay? What you're seeing on the left is actually the beginnings of a guitar, believe it or not. Even though it's one string and it's on a board, it's the very beginnings of what will become a guitar. There's a phrase from extreme programming called do the simplest thing that could possibly work. And simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done. That's a principle in the Agile Manifesto. Those concepts are present in this solution, okay? So for the first pilot, you press the button, buy ticket, and it sends some data to the store register. It goes to some data sent to the payment service to take payment. And then there's the back-end railroad system, which issues the ticket. So that's all the system needed to do, was sort of talk to these 3 entities. It wasn't a lot of code to write. It didn't take a lot of time. Very, very, very simple stuff. Okay, that's the first pilot. And they learned from it and they discovered this works. Okay, then they decided let's support some other locations, not just this one convenience store. And this is where evolutionary design starts to kick in. Now the guitar is evolving. Still not quite a guitar here. There's 4 strings. There's no hole in the middle, a sound hole they call it. There are no frets. There's a lot of things missing, but it's shaping up to become a guitar. And eventually it'll look like this. And even that's not quite done, right? You see only some of the frets at the top of the guitar there. It's emerging, it's evolving. Eventually, it'll even morph some more and end up looking like this when you're done. Okay, evolutionary design. So the second pilot that they created supported 2 convenience stores, and they also found a defect and fixed it. Okay, that was the second pilot. That was successful. They went on to the third pilot, adding much more functionality. They increased the number of locations of the third pilot to 5 locations and said, let's see how that goes. And that went well. And of course, now you had more functionality. You could specify where you wanted to go to. You could buy a round trip ticket. And after that third pilot, and they saw things were working correctly, they decided, let's go system-wide now. We have enough evidence to say it's time to go system-wide. And then they really rolled it out across the entire network of stores and train stations. Okay, so analysis, right? The first pilot took less than 10 days. And they were going to do more releases weeks later, but that first pilot was very fast. From idea to execution took less than 10 days. They were resourceful. So first they were quick, but secondly, they were resourceful. They found ways to learn and earn, right? They were earning money. When people buy those tickets, you're still earning money. So they were able to learn and earn gracefully, right? without a lot of fuss. They adapted. They evolved quality, easy to change software. Okay. So they started with very simple software. It was well written, but it was very minimalistic. And they adapted that over time, as they progressed through the pilots. It was easy to change the software. So they were quick, resourceful, and adaptable in the way they worked. Now, if we analyze this further, we can see that there's these words that are kind of ways to describe how they worked. Things were quick, they were easy, right? It's easy to put in a pilot, a one-store pilot program where it only does one thing. That's easy. It was very graceful to roll that out because it was just so basic, one store. They were quick, easy, and graceful. And as we just saw, they were quick, resourceful, and adaptable. These words are really important. They're the heart and soul of my book, Joy of Agility. I get into each one of these words in great depth because agile is an adjective. It's an adjective and it's not something that will ever die. You might hear that agile is dying. People are starting to turn their backs on agile. They're unhappy with agile. Well, that might be talking about a framework in agile, or it might be talking about, certain kinds of ways of working in an agile way in software development, but agile cannot die. Adjectives don't ever die. The agile adjective will be around forever. What does it mean? Let's go to the dictionary. The Merriam-Webster dictionary basically defines agile as marked by a ready ability to move with quick, easy grace. For example, an agile dancer. And a second definition is equally good, is having a quick, resourceful, and adaptable character, an agile mind. I like both definitions. I love both definitions. I've memorized them because they're so useful. This is agile. You can be agile at home. You can be agile at work. You don't need a certification to be agile. Agile is this thing which means marked by a ready ability to move with quick, easy grace, or having a quick, resourceful, and adaptable character. It has taken me decades to eventually get to this definition and say, this really is what Agile's all about. Whether I'm doing software development or I'm trying to solve some problem in my family world or, something that relates to my life, I have to be agile. I need to be quick, resourceful, and adaptable when I'm dealing with obstacles. The subtitle of my book is How to Solve Problems and Succeed Sooner. Agility helps us solve problems and succeed sooner. We need to be agile when we face unexpected obstacles, when we're dealing with difficult situations. We need to be agile. That's why the American manufacturing industry said, it's time to be agile. We're getting our butts kicked by manufacturers in Japan, right? They were dealing with a problem, an obstacle, and they had to find a solution. That's what agility helps us for. So I really want to get your mind around this concept that agile is an adjective, an agile dancer, an agile mind, an agile team, and it's less about specific frameworks or software development techniques. It's much more about this adjective, okay? So marked by ready ability to move with quick, easy grace. There are those words, quick, easy, and graceful. Or having this quick, resourceful, and adaptable character. Quick, resourceful, adaptable. Let's look at one of the many mantras in my book. There's 6 mantras in Joy of Agility that are deeply related to the words you just saw in the definition of agile. Okay, there's that word adapt, right? We said you had to be quick, resourceful, and adaptable. This mantra says, be poised to adapt. So, what does the word poised mean? Poised means marked by balance or equilibrium, having a graceful and elegant bearing. These are the words that define the word poised, right? We just said this is poised to adapt. Are we poised to adapt? To be poised to adapt, we have to be in balance and we have to have a certain sense of gracefulness. We're poised, we're ready to adapt, right? That's not so simple because there's pre-work to be ready to adapt, right? We'll get into that shortly. I want to tell a quick story about a viola player. I don't know if any of you are musicians, but this is a woman named Virginia Schneider. And she's no longer alive, but she was a musician, a teacher. She was a principal violist, means she played in orchestras. And she was an absolute maestro in terms of her ability to play the viola. Just incredible. And she was basically playing a solo one night in the orchestra, and one of her strings broke. So she's in the very middle of playing this solo, and the string breaks. And she basically, without thinking, just quickly moved to a different string and played the solo on a different string. She adapted. It was incredible. Other musicians could not believe that she was able to do this. It was very, very difficult to do, to just simply change strings and play this amazing solo. So while she had never rehearsed her solo on the D string, she was playing it on the A string, right? The A, there's different names for these strings. She was supposed to play her solo on the A string, but it broke. So she had to switch to the D string. And while she had never rehearsed on that D string, she performed her solo gracefully thanks to years of practice and mastery of her instrument. She possessed high adaptive capacity, the capacity to adapt when needed. She had very high adaptive capacity. In other words, she was poised to adapt. She was poised to adapt in an unexpected situation because she was such a master of the viola. Now, you may not have heard of her, but you might have heard of Chris Rock. Chris Rock is a comedian, actor. He's a Saturday Night Live alumnus, an incredible, funny guy. And when Chris Rock gives a big comedy special on, let's say, Netflix, he gets paid millions of dollars and there's a giant audience. But he doesn't start there when he's creating a new set, a new comedy set. He starts in a tiny little club near his house where people have to sign an NDA that they're not going to, share any of this early material. This is raw early material. He writes it on a legal pad, yellow legal pad, and he's just experimenting like a scientist on various potential jokes, various potential funny things. And he's basically saying stuff, looking at the audience, looking for any signs that something he just talked about was funny, so that maybe he'll develop that further. And he works night after night in this local, tiny little club until he starts to develop his material. And then he'll find a slightly bigger club and start testing his material there. And it keeps going and going until he eventually gets to the large audiences, whether that's on Netflix or in large locations. Similar story, right? That's what's going on. It's almost like evolutionary design. He's evolving his comedy set. Now let's switch back to technology. I want to talk about HP. This was written in a book, and I know the story myself because I met some of the people involved in it. And this is actually a bad story. It's a problem that happened at HP that they're fully aware of and they fixed. But they had a firmware fiasco, right? We all know what firmware is. It's what the software that runs on the hardware, right? Even in your printer, there's firmware. So they created a brand new kind of printer, which is part of a line of printers eventually, right? When they call a printer line, there's the first version, then there's the second version and third versions. They come up with slightly different models and things like that. It's called a printer line. This was the first printer created in the new printer line. And they had to create about 2 million lines of firmware code for it. Everything was good. It all worked. They put the firmware on the hardware and they started selling it. Excellent. Good results. Then they came out with a second model, right? A second printer, slightly different from the first, and they had to make a choice. What do we do with the 2 million lines of firmware? This new printer works slightly differently, not much, but slightly differently. Should we adapt the 2 million lines of code so it could work with both printers? Or should we just copy it and make a modification to the 2 million lines of code? As I said, this is a fiasco story. So what do you think they did? They just copied the 2 million lines of code and they changed it for the second printer. Well, then they did that 3 more times. All right, so now you got, what, 10 million lines of code? Each printer just copied the 2 million lines and made changes to it. So now instead of 2 million lines of code that works on 5 printers, they had 10 million lines of code. And then they did it many, many more times. 18 times to be exact, which led to 36 million lines of firmware. This was a big problem because anytime there was a defect, it had to be fixed in 18 different code bases. And there were a lot of defects. And it caused a lot of problems in the marketplace. Customers were very unhappy. The teams working at HP on this were very unhappy. 18 different code bases all having to be tended to instead of a single 2 million lines of code that was adapted to work on the various printers. HP in this story was not resourceful and adaptable, and they certainly weren't quick because things started to take longer and longer and longer to fix, right? When you're working on 18 code bases instead of one code base, you're not quick. They were not agile at all here in the definition of the adjective agile. They were not agile. Even if they were working in a style called Scrum, right, every 2 weeks and doing stand-up meetings, and let's say they had certified Scrum Masters, it doesn't matter. The end results were extremely unagile, not agile. They hurried. So instead of being quick, they were hurrying all the time, right? Let's get the next printer out. Let's just hurry. Let's copy and paste this 2 million lines of firmware and just make a quick change. We hurried. When you hurry, you make mistakes. Another mantra in the book, Joy of Agility, is be quick, but don't hurry. Hurrying leads to big problems. They weren't resourceful. Resourceful means, you're finding clever ways to solve problems. They were stuck in a pattern of work that didn't serve them well. And finally, they were not adaptable at all. They didn't adapt the software. They were rigid in their approach to just copying and pasting it. They were not agile. It made things slow. It made things not easy and not graceful. Hurried, hard, and awkward. Okay. HP eventually woke up from this nightmare and said, we're never going to let that happen ever again. And they said, we're going to create future smart firmware. Future smart. This software is going to adapt to the future. It's going to work with other models. And they really, really changed the way they developed software. And you can read more about it if you ever care to in a book called a practical approach to large-scale agile development. My company helped teach HP engineers about test-driven development and evolutionary design and refactoring, really important skills for being future smart. And that's where I learned about this story. It wasn't from the book, it was from the lips of the actual engineers who had to experience the 18 code bases and what a disaster that was. So I want to tell one last story here, and it takes place in the Super Bowl in 2013. Okay, back then, the Super Bowl had a very famous singer for the halftime show. Her name was Beyonce. And Beyonce put on a fabulous halftime show. And then the third quarter of the game started. Okay. And this is in what's called the Superdome. All right. So the Superdome was packed, and suddenly, a few minutes into the third quarter, right? The teams are playing football. A few minutes into the third quarter, sorry, I went backwards slightly. A few minutes into this third quarter, the lights in the Superdome, almost all the lights, about 95% of the lights go dark. The whole place is like in darkness. I was watching this particular event because the team from California, from San Francisco, was there playing. And no one knew what happened. The announcers on TV were like shocked. What the heck just happened? The lights went out. No one knew if it was a terrorist event or something, sinister like that. And all of a sudden, on Twitter, within minutes of this happening, a tweet comes out by the Oreo cookie company. And it says, power out, no problem. You can still dunk in the dark. Oreo's famous for you dunk your Oreo cookie into some milk and you eat it, and it's very, very delicious. And they put this out. Now, most of you may know the Super Bowl in the United States is one of the biggest advertising events in the entire year. And companies spend millions of dollars on commercials. Well, guess what was the most popular commercial of the Super Bowl in 2013? It wasn't even a commercial. It was this tweet. It went viral. It was absolutely phenomenal for the Oreo cookie company. And we're going to learn how this happened. So, Oreo is owned by Kraft Foods. And Lisa Mann was the VP of cookies. Quite a title, right? VP, if you like cookies and you maybe aspire one day to be VP of cookies, that's pretty cool. She's VP of cookies at Kraft Foods. Now, they worked with an agency to help with their marketing, and it was called 360i. And Sarah was the CEO of 360i. Danielle was the associate brand manager at Oreo Cookie Company. And Maggie Walsh was a strategist at 360i. And Michael was a creative director. All right, so these are the major cast of characters. There were a few others as well, but these 5 people were pretty important to this story. So before the Super Bowl, on the Saturday before the Super Bowl, there was a team at Oreo, right? It was consisting of these people from 360i and some Oreo people and some Kraft folks. And they were practicing how they were going to be ready for the Super Bowl. So they said we were over-prepared. We did a dry run on Saturday. We had this worksheet. What happens if this person does this? What does this person do? Who writes the copy? Who presses send? They were a team that was focused on real-time marketing. Okay. And I'm going to tell the story of why, but Oreo Cookie Company wanted these social media people to be ready to do things in real time. So depending upon what event was going on in the world, they wanted them to be able to tweet about it. So a few minutes after the blackout, what happened with this team? The blackout occurs and Michael says, well, we should probably do something. And Sarah says, power, meaning power's out. opportunity to capitalize? And Michael says, you can dunk in a blackout. And Danielle confirms that there was no terrorist event that occurred and that it was safe to post. So they started to think, okay, maybe we'll say you can dunk in a blackout. Danielle emails Lisa for final approval, writing, I really wanted to say you can still dunk in the dark. Lisa gives final approval, and the legendary tweet goes out. They had someone, create the little image and create the thing, and it went out on Twitter. Okay. So what Sarah says here is that, sorry, not Sarah, the CEO of Cookies, right? The VP of Cookies. She said that tweet took 2 years to create. Even though they did it in seconds and minutes right there and during the Super Bowl, it really took several years to create. And why was that? Well, Oreo Cookie was celebrating their 100th birthday. And the management decided that they wanted to celebrate 100 years by having a new social media push every day for 100 consecutive days. And they wanted that social media push to be about everyday events going on in the world. So they assembled a team called the Daily Twist. And here's an example. When The Dark Knight Rises movie came out, this was the Daily Twist social media posting, right? Always about Oreo, but in the context of what's going on in the world. Another day during the Pride celebration, this was what they put out. When the Mars rover landed, they did this incredible Oreo cookie. So every day this team had to figure out what's going on in the world and what are we going to put out there. They were learning. They were getting better and better and better at doing this. And even for Elvis Week, they had an incredible solution. So what was going on here was they were developing muscle memory. They were developing an ability to create content on the fly based on everyday events. They did it for 100 consecutive days. And if you looked at this team, you would say, wow, they were quick without hurrying. They were balanced and graceful. They had the right set of people on the team, and they were gracefully putting out content. They were poised to adapt. Given anything that happened in the world that was exciting, they were ready to adapt and use it for their marketing of Oreo cookies. They would start with a minimal idea and evolve it, right? They had a culture where they helped each other, and it was safe to experiment and safe to try things. They would drive out fear, as we say. And finally, they were very, very resourceful in coming up with all the ideas for Oreo. These are the 6 mantras in Joy of Agility. And I have many stories about each and every one of those to further define them. But this Oreo cookie story really exemplifies all 6 of the mantras. An incredible team. So those 6 mantras are really the heart and soul of the book and what I wrote the book about. I didn't even realize I was going to write about 6 mantras. I just wrote my favorite stories of agility in many contexts. Even at one point, there's a story in there about bringing a bookshelf into my house and how we managed to do it. And it's an agile story. It's got nothing to do with software. The Oreo cookie story is in there. The story about Chris Rock is in there. Lots and lots of stories that illustrate agility in the world, whether that's in software or in other professions. And over time, I had to put those stories into categories. And over time, those coalesced into what became these 6 mantras. Today, when I think of Agile, I think of the 6 mantras, because these mantras really help me to live and breathe agility. I want to finish up here by saying that, remember, Agile is an adjective. An agile dancer, an agile thinker, an agile team, and so on. It's an adjective marked by ready ability to move with quick, easy grace, having a quick, resourceful, and adaptable character. It's guided by mantras. That adjective, if you really want to put it to use, the words aren't enough to me in the definition. You need to go a little further. What does it mean to be quick? Well, it means be quick, but do not hurry. Hurrying is not quick. Well, you make a lot of mistakes when you hurry, just like HP did when they hurried out those printers. So be quick, but don't hurry is a little more precise about what we mean when we say be quick. And I can go on and on about that mantra. There's a lot of sense to there's good slow and bad slow. And you have to understand what good slow is and bad slow is. Be balanced and graceful is another mantra, and it's about how important balance is. If you don't have the right people on a team, it's an unbalanced team. If you don't have the right balance between discovery of what to build and delivery of what to build, it's unbalanced, and you will not be graceful. Be balanced and graceful is a powerful mantra. We learned about being poised to adapt, and then there's 3 other ones. This is how I implement the adjective, these mantras. And ultimately, Agile is realized in unlimited ways. At home, at work, in life, in every industry, sport, or profession, agility exists if you pursue it, if you try to become good at it. So if you're interested in Joy of Agility, there's a handy website to go to. There's materials up there that you can look at, including a free chapter of the book. And there's also some quotes from people who've endorsed the book and some other resources that you can look at. Thanks for listening. I appreciated this opportunity and happy to answer any questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Joshua. It was very interactive session. So we'll start with the Q&A. So the first question is from Fortune. That is, how does your modern Agile differ from Alistair Cockburn's Heart of Agile?
It's very different in the sense that Alistair is focusing on what he believes Agile means. And Heart of Agile includes words like collaboration and reflecting. And I don't have a problem with those words, but if I look at the definition of Agile in the dictionary, collaboration is not really there. I think collaboration is important, but I also think that sometimes a person by themselves can be agile without collaborating with anyone. So I don't think that the heart of Agile is truly the heart of Agile. I think the heart of Agile is the definition of the word. Agile means marked by a ready ability to move with quick, easy grace, or having a quick, resourceful, and adaptable character. That's what the word means. Heart of Agile is a good thing. It's trying to simplify Agile just the way modern Agile is. Both Heart of Agile and modern Agile came out around the same time. Neither of us knew we were working on such a thing. They both have good intentions. I still love modern Agile. I still find it very useful. And I think Heart of Agile is a useful thing, right? Both of us observed that Agile was getting far too complex and that wasn't helping anybody. So both Heart of Agile and modern Agile are useful things. I feel like I've gone a bit deeper with Joy of Agility by saying, well, what does Agile itself mean? And what does it truly mean to be Agile? And I found that that ultimately serves me better than following Heart of Agile or even modern Agile. I'm much more driven these days by this joy that you can get when you're actually being Agile. So that's my answer.
Mm-hmm. Great. So I hope this answers the question for Fortune. So next question is from Mohammad Hantul. So what professional certifications you suggest about ITSM and Agile?
What professional certificate? I am the wrong person to ask that question of. I do not know about all the different certifications that are out there. I favor certifications that are longer in nature, that will actually involve you proving that you learned a skill, right? We talked earlier about that violist, Virginia, who mastered her craft. And she was able to adapt on the fly when a problem happened. That's real agility. To me, you're better off studying the great books of Agile and the great thinkers behind Agile and being a scholar of that than you are just getting a 2-day certification. If you are interested in a more evolved certification, then I would look for one that takes months to acquire and that it involves you proving that you've actually learned a skill. That's the kind of certification I would say look for. I don't know what that is though, because I am an uncertified Agilist. I have 0 Agile certifications.
Okay. So next question is from Hamesh. So I have a question: how we should address the negative friction from team members which they are against of change?
Great question. It's always going to be a problem. People are always resistant to change. So there is a book by my friend Esther Derby, and it's 7 rules for positive productive change, something like that title. And I write about this in Joy of Agility because it's so important. And she talks about, she's an expert on change and she's an expert on resistance. So if any book you want to read, that would be the one I'd recommend because there's stories in there about how to approach change gracefully. One of the stories is this one person wanted his team to try Kanban, but they weren't interested. So he would just do Kanban himself for his own work. And one day someone saw him doing this and said, I'm interested. What are you doing there? And he explained it. And that person decided to give it a try. And then another person decided to give it a try. And eventually the whole team was doing it and they made it a team practice. But he didn't push it. He just started using it himself, right? That was a very graceful way to introduce some change. So Esther, I believe, is really an expert on this topic, and I would recommend studying her book, 7 Rules for Positive Productive Change.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for those who are wondering about Agile certifications, in the chat box, we have, like you have asked this question. So GSDC has Agile ITSM and several other Agile certifications. So you can check out our website for the details shared in the chat box. Yes, Joshua, we have some more questions. Just a minute. Yeah, so we have these questions from our socials, that is, in your experience, what do you think are the most common challenges organizations face when trying to integrate agile practices into their existing ITSM frameworks?
The biggest problem typically is that people really don't want to change. Change is hard, and they'd like to keep the status quo. This is the biggest problem is, there's not necessarily a great hunger for change. People are afraid of change. They think they're going to lose control if something changes on them. So the first thing that you have to do is make it safe to try new things, to experiment. Sometimes that means having a pilot team go off and try something new. Maybe it's not exactly how things are done today. It's a new way of working. And that could be successful, but then you have the harder problem is if it's successful, well, how does it spread? And there's something called organizational antibodies. The organizational antibodies come out and say, we don't want this change. You might have had success in your pilot, but we don't want that change. So a big issue comes down to how can we prove value? How can we visualize the value of a new way of working? How can we show the monetary value of it? Why is it more sensible from a financial perspective? And such things like that. You've got to be able to sell why the change is valuable. And that's a lot of work. It's hard work to show that, to compare the old way to the new way and show why the new way is better. But that's really what's vital, I think, in making the change happen. It's critical to show the value of why a change is there. But again, people resist change. You have to understand that is the context you're in, and you got to be able to be crafty and agile in that context, right? If agile helps us overcome obstacles, the resistance to change is an obstacle, and you have to be agile to overcome that obstacle. You have to figure out clever ways to get around it and to make change maybe something exciting for people to try and safe for them to try.
Mhm. Yeah, so next question is, based on your experience, which specific agile frameworks like Scrum or Kanban do you find the most effective when applied to ITSM, and why?
These days I'm basically just talk about flow. The flow of value to production, the flow of value to customers. So rather than getting focused in on the specifics of Scrum or Kanban, we focus more on how long does it take us to get an idea validated and then built and then in production. How long does that take us? How long does it take us to learn from what we put out in production, right? Remember the train story in my talk. Within 10 days, they had an actual computer in a convenience store allowing people to buy tickets, and they learned from that very, very rapidly. I'm more interested in that than I am in Scrum or Kanban, because to me, that's about getting value out the door and learning rapidly, right? That's my focus. So it's what is getting in the way of flow, and how can I remove those things that are getting in the way of flow? That's what I'm interested in, rather than specific frameworks and approaches. And that's taken a long time to get to that point, but that's where I am today, and that's how I even work with beginners and say we don't need to worry about this or that from Scrum or this or that from Kanban. Let's just focus in on evolutionary design. What's the first experiment we want to work on? What's the first slice of behavior we want to build, right? And let's learn from that. And that's how we approach it. And we just start doing one slice after another, learning as rapidly as we can, and focusing on putting value out and flowing it out to production.
Mhm. So, yes, few more questions, Joshua. So, what are your predictions for the latest trends in Agile ITSM that organizations should be aware of as they plan for the future?
I mean, one of the things we're doing that I love is called the daily demo. So every day, someone makes a video of the work that the team did and posts it, let's say on Slack or some other, group tool. And you can see for yourself what got built, what was created. So you don't have to wait for a demo at the end of 2 weeks. You are seeing daily progress, the daily demo. That's something that I wouldn't call it a trend. I'll just tell you it's something I'm excited about because I've been experiencing it now for a few years in my company. Another thing that I love is these discovery trees. We use discovery trees. There's a blog about it on our website, Industrial Logic. But discovery trees allow us to get more deeply into what is the work we're trying to achieve, and how can we visualize it, and how do we use colors to show, how much work we accomplished. So I'm really into discovery trees. These days we use them in Mural or Miro, and it's a lot of time spent there. So our team spent a lot more time using Mural or Miro rather than Jira. And that's where a lot of the collaboration happens when they're not writing software.
Okay, so Joshua, one of our participant has pointed out an example on the chat, and he wants to know among all the agile methodologies, which one is the closest to you?
Which one is the closest
Yeah,
to what?
to you. Which one is the closest to you?
Um, I mean, like I said,
Agile methodologies. Which one is closest to you? They're asking.
probably the closest one to me would be extreme programming.
Okay. Yeah. So last question we can take. That is, how is the Agile ITSM different than traditional ITSM, and what is the fundamental difference between?
How is the Agile ITSM different from traditional ITSM?
Yeah, what is the fundamental difference between them?
I mean, fundamentally, Agile brought in a way of saying we're not going to build a whole bunch of stuff up front. We're not going to do a bunch of big upfront design and big upfront analysis, and then suddenly eventually move to development and then finally move to QA, that the sort of misunderstood waterfall approach. And Agile started bringing in, let's get things done early and often, right? Let's start with an early demo. The sprint concept came out of MIT, right? The Massachusetts Institute of Technology. They had a thing called the Media Lab. And in the Media Lab, students would work with brand new technologies, right? Back then, there was a lot of interesting new technologies in the early 90s. And they would work for a small period of time, right? Let's say a week or 2 weeks, whatever it was. And they had to demo something. And if they didn't demo something cool, the project was not funded anymore. So early 1990s, that's how sprints sort of came to be. And that's where the inspiration for sprints came, because you had to demo something interesting. So Agile is really about how quickly can we build something and show it and then evolve it. And that's really the nature of Agile in IT and how it's different from traditional waterfall approaches.
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much, Joshua. It was a very interactive and knowledgeable session. So before we move forward with the gamification session, so Joshua, can you add a last statement to this webinar?
A final statement would just be, I still think that we're in the early days of Agile and that there's a lot more to learn. And we have to start to learn to unlearn some of the stuff that we learned from the last couple of decades. Unlearning is as important as learning. There's a book by a guy named Barry O'Reilly who wrote a book called Unlearn. And so it's important to unlearn. I think we're in the early days of really, truly being agile. And I wrote Joy of Agility to help, launch that next phase of our maturity in terms of agility, getting away from thinking of Agile as a framework or a methodology and beginning to think of it as an adjective that we aspire to be. So that's where I think we're going.
Yes. Thank you very much. Yes, so everyone, please stay connected with us. We'll soon start with the gamification session. I would like to welcome my colleague, Ms. Setulu, to take this session ahead.
Thank you, Anjali, and thank you, Joshua. That was such an insightful session and really enjoyed it. I see that in the comments, people are wanting to read your book as well. So definitely we'll be sharing the link to Joshua's book as well. You can stay in touch with us and you can have a look at the updates from GSDC. So Joshua, do feel free to join us for this game. It will be a very quick and exciting game here. We'll do it with all the participants. I have shared the link and the session ID on the chat box. Please go ahead and just register yourself. So let me quickly tell you how we will go about it here. I hope everyone is able to see my screen. First of all, once you click on the link, what will happen is you will see this screen here where you have to sign in. So step 1, you have to click on the sign in button here. Once you click there, most of you won't be having the account of this, so just go to sign up. Step 2, that is step 2. So go on sign up and then enter your details. So you can enter your first name, last name, your email ID, and also the session ID, which is 1734. If you still haven't gotten the link and the session ID, please check it on the chat box. I have sent it again. The link is there and the session ID, that is 1734. Yes, so for people who are asking about the recording, we will be publishing on our YouTube channel, so you can stay updated with us and you'll know about it. So yeah, once you sign up, what you will be seeing is the screen with the game Stack of Coins. So we will be playing the game Stack of Coins, and in case you do not see this game, that is Stack of Coins, then you can go to the top right corner, click on your profile here. Once you click there, you will see that option to change your session. So just click on change session and then enter the session ID, which is 1734. So session ID for today is 1734. For those watching live on our social media platforms, you will find a link on the comment box. Just click there and join us for this game. The top winner will win a $400 worth voucher for this Agile ITSM exam certification, and the top 3 will be posted on our wall of fame. So yeah, yes, time limit for the game. I will give you a time limit. Let's give it we'll give it 2 minutes for the game, and we'll give some few more minutes for people to sign up here. While you are doing that, I will go to my dashboard here to check the registrations, how we are doing here. If you are facing any issue, just let us know and we will help you accordingly. So the game is Stack of Coins. You have to see the game Stack of Coins. If you are not seeing that, you have to change your session ID. So again, I'm sharing my lobby, the dashboard. You can see your name there. Whoever has signed up, whoever has registered, you can see your name there. If you have any questions, you can leave it on the chat box. If you are unable to sign in, let me know what error you are getting so that I can help you with that. In case you face that your account is already there, then you can use a different email ID, or you can use a dummy email ID as well. As long as your name is correct, then we will be able to connect with you. All right, so yeah, if you have already an existing email, then you can use another email, or you can use a dummy email as well. I'm sharing the link again. Muhammad Naim, please have a look on the chat box. The link is shared. You can click there to sign in. Yeah, you have to sign up since this is a new dashboard that we are using today. So you have to sign up instead of sign in. So just click on sign in and you can see here the sign up option. So click on sign up, enter the name, last name, email ID, and sign up there. Okay, so we'll give it 2 minutes more and then we'll start the game for this. Let me check the lobby again. Okay, we have some few players here. If you are still signing up, let me know and we will work on this. Okay, anyone have any problem signing in? Let me know. Just few more minutes and we'll start this game. I'm just setting up our timer for today. Today the game that we are playing is Stack of Coins, and what you will be seeing is you will be seeing the stack of coins. Basically, you'll be seeing a stack of coins with different points there, and with the different points accordingly how you answer it. If you answer it right, you will get the points that is there. Yeah, Muhammad Naim, you can have a look at my screen here. So I'm just showing it again. Step 1, you have to click on sign in. Step 2, you can see the sign up option here. just next to don't have an account, sign up. So just click there and then you will get this option. We'll wait a few more seconds and then we'll start the game. Session ID is 1734. You have to make sure that you use that so that you find this game. If not, if you are seeing another game, you have to go to your profile here on the top right, change session and enter your session ID. Okay, we're about to begin. Let me just check the lobby again. Okay. All right, so we won't delay anymore since time is running up. And let me do a countdown so that you can join in here. So we'll begin in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So we have started the quiz. You can check your screen for the game that would be playing right now. And if you want to check the scores, you can come back to the Zoom screen to check the scores of your competitors. So the game, you have 2 minutes. I have started the timer and I will let you know how the time is going about. You have to answer each question exactly as the questions is asking. You get only one chance and you can't go back. Also, do not refresh your browser as that will refresh your game completely. Okay, I can see here our speaker Joshua is on the top right now. Anyone wants to defeat our speaker here, do try your best to do that. Maybe our speaker will be finally getting a certification from GSDC through this game. All right, our speaker is still on top. Okay, he has gone down. He has been taken over by another player, Shubham. Great going. We still have some time. We have 1 more minute to go. So if you are still playing, yeah, keep on trying. Only the top winner, that is the top 1 winner, will be getting this voucher, which is worth $400. You will be getting the exam voucher to get the certificate for Agile ITSM. All right, so a few more minutes, seconds. Few more seconds left. We have 30 seconds to go here. Sorry, 20 seconds. I'm having a tough time keeping up with the timer here. In case anyone missed out to join for today's game, you can try again tomorrow as well. So tomorrow we will be doing another game and we will be playing with another of our speaker. So you can join in tomorrow as well. All right, we have some few more players still playing. I'll give it extra more 10 seconds here so that you have the time. Just a few more seconds. Okay, I'm doing the countdown now in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So that's the end of the quiz. And thank you so much everyone for playing. You can have a look at the winner list on your screen. Also, you can check my screen as well to see the winner list. Okay, it's taking a little bit of time, but yeah, we will just get there. But I believe we already know who this winner is. Yes, our speaker Joshua is the winner here. So congratulations to you, Joshua. Finally, I hope you will be going ahead for the certification here. And yeah, congratulations to Rupesh and Shubham as well for coming out on 2nd and 3rd. You can see here on the screen, it's Rupesh has the same score as Josh, but obviously our speaker Joshua did the game much faster. That's why he's the winner. And of course, for Rupesh and Shubham as well, congratulations to both of you as well for playing the game and winning it here, because you are the top list here. Would any one of you like to share your feedback about this game, Rupesh and Shubham? I'm trying to, yeah, I have requested an unmute button for you guys. So if you would like to share your feedback, please feel free to talk to us.
Hey, thanks for giving the opportunity. So I think it was quite interesting, and then it covers pretty much the basics of the Agile. So I am already a CSM certified. So I
Awesome.
find and I am practicing the Agile. So this is very relevant to what we are doing on our day-to-day basis. So thanks for the opportunity.
Amazing. Thank you, Rupesh. Shubham, would you like to share a few words?
Yeah, I think I used quick than being agile. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you so much for playing, and thank you, Joshua, again for being with us. It's been amazing, and yeah, again, I hope we can get in touch with you as well, and I will definitely get in touch with you regarding the certification as well. I hope we'll be able to get your certificate soon.
Okay,
Would
thank
you
you.
like to? Yeah. Would you like to add any words to that?
I'm gonna probably remain uncertified, but I appreciate the
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, Anjali, you can take over the session to close this.
Yeah,
Thank you for the
sure.
time.
Thanks, Satulo. Yes, thanks. Congratulations, Joshua, for topping up this gamification session. So, yes. Yes. Our next webinar session is scheduled for tomorrow, same time and same link with Mr. Michael Sahuta, leadership trainer and organizational evolution consultant. So he will be presenting on the topic leading beyond change from servant leadership to evolutionary leadership. So everyone stay connected with us on all our socials. And please do follow us on the LinkedIn groups. Also, please give us a feedback and key takeaways on our Trust Pilot. And all the links are mentioned in the chat box. Thank you very much, everyone. And please join our upcoming sessions and as well to stay connected. Yes, thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.